We are back for part two of the Carr Brothers case, My Roman Empire, and the case that I believe should be talked about more. Now, I am setting a trigger warning right here. The things you are about to hear are horrendous, they are terrible, and they are real events that happen to real people. So please hang tight with me because there is an important part of this case coming up. So, let's talk about December 14th, 2000. It was a snowy night and it was bitter, bitter cold. All of these friends were going to sleep in their home together, and HG brought her little schnauzer, Nikki, along with her to her boyfriend's house for the night. They all went into bed. Jason and HG were snuggled together when they realized the porch light came on. And Jason kind of mumbled, like, oh no, am I going to have to go turn that off? And they heard a noise of Aaron talking to someone in the hallway. They just figured it was someone who was in the house. And then, boom, two men burst into the room, flashing the light on and then pulling off the covers. In front of them were two strange men, and they were standing there with Aaron. They were both armed, and so the schnauzer, Nikki, started growling. The men told HG to basically make her dog stop or that they were going to unalive the dog. She kind of settles the dog down, and quickly the two brothers bring all of the friends into the room together. They then made all of them strip down unclothed. They told the two girls to go into another room that was right beside the room with one man, and the other man would stay with the men. There was a lot of SA that happened. I will not go into extreme detail, but what I will say is that they made the girls do things to the girls. They made the men all do things to these two girls. It was terrible, as well as the abusers did things to these girls. And the men pleaded with their attackers that they did not want to do this, and they still made them do it. And they would mock them because they couldn't perform. This is horrendous SA accounts from the victim. And this is just something that just sticks with me. If they refused to do something, they were beat and harassed. With a golf club, they were beat, with hands, with the butt of the gun. Then all of them were thrown in a closet together, again unclothed, as they took some of them to go and withdraw money at ATMs around the town. In this meantime, when one of the captors were out with someone getting money, the other man also SA'd and tortured these people. Um, they were threatened because they were armed at the time. Um, Also, the captor was going through, rummaging through things and stealing. At this time is when HG sees the engagement ring that Jason was going to give her. And she had no idea about it. And of course, it was just terrifying. When they all got back, the men made all of the people half clothed or completely unclothed get into the trunk of two different cars. They took Jason's car and they took their car. They made the men get in the trunk and the women get in the back seat. They drove to a soccer field that was being built at the time. There was nothing there but just a field and a cement entrance. This is where everything happened. They make the men get out and kneel. The women watched and pleaded with their lives. Please, please, please. One by one, they were pew-pewed and then kicked into the snow. Then HG heard a car start and the car ran over the people that were on the ground. But then HD realized that she was alive. She called out to her friends one by one: Jason, Heather, Aaron, Brad. No answer. She waited until she could not see any more headlights, and then she went over to Jason. The reason that she survived was she had a plastic claw clip in her hair holding her hair up. And when the pew pew hit, it deflected and did not unalive her. She went over to Jason, who was bleeding out of his head, and she took off the only piece of clothing that she had, which was a sweater. She wrapped it around Jason's head, hoping that it would stop the blood. And then she looked around. There was nothing but snow, but she noticed that in the distance there was Christmas lights. She ran approximately a mile in the freezing snow, completely unclothed, to go to this house with the Christmas lights to get help while bleeding, while being hurt. She got help. She was alive. She was able to identify the attackers and send help to her friends. But it was already too late. All of her friends were gone. The Carr brothers returned to the home during all of this, and they basically stole everything. And trigger warning, they also unalived the dog for no reason. Because HG had described the attacker and the vehicles, the police were on the lookout. And quickly, they got a call at a complex where the car was parked. And Reginald Carr was there. He tried to run, he got captured. And then shortly after that, Jonathan also tried to run, but got captured. So there was plenty of DNA left on HG and all the other victims, as well as Anne Walenta identified them and also the other person. So there was no way that they were going to get out of this. HG also confirmed them, and it was the Carr brothers. They had found them. Reginald and Jonathan were charged with 113 crimes, including 5 counts of capital and multiple counts of SA and robbery. They were also charged with animal cruelty. They were found guilty and sentenced to the D penalty. Now, Kansas kind of goes back and forth. Sometimes they have the D penalty and sometimes they don't. So it has been removed and upheld a few times over the years. They keep trying to appeal it, they keep going back to court, but at this point, it is affirmed as of 2022 that they are under the D penalty. Now, is this going to happen? I don't know. But that is where we stand right now. There was also a lot about this case. There was some things about a hate crime because the Carr brothers were talking to HG about racial things during the crime. I do think that they should be charged with an extra hate crime, but they're in for the D penalty. So that's where we stand right now. I'm going to make another video where I talk about the D penalty and this case. That'll be next. But this is my Roman Empire, and it will be forever. I know that HG doesn't want any attention, but she is literally the person that is the strongest person I have ever heard about. And she is the kind of person that we all should gain inspiration from. So this one goes out to HG as well as the other victims. I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.